And 1 in 3 women and 1 in 6 men will be victims of sexual violence in their lifetime. When it comes to sexual violence, there are a lot of misconceptions out there. You hear things about protecting yourself, not wearing revealing clothing, and to avoid going out late at night by yourself to avoid being raped or assaulted. People think that if you said yes, but then decide no, that if you get raped, that's your fault because you already said yes. And guys just can't keep it in their pants, so make sure you're not dressing too slutty, ladies. All of these misconceptions I just listed really piss me off because essentially they all blame the victim in some way for crimes that have been committed against them. That's why being educated and understanding how sexual violence works is essential. This video is going to be part 1 of a mini-series that I'm going to be calling Consent is Sexy, that will explore sexual violence in all its various forms as well as the power and social dynamics that are at work. Now in this video, I am going to explore the definition of sexual violence as well as 7 common myths that exist out there about sexual violence. According to the CDC, sexual violence is any sexual act that is perpetrated against someone's will. Sexual violence encompasses a range of offenses, including a completed non-consensual sex act, an attempted non-consensual sex act, abusive sexual contact, and non-contact sexual abuse, including threatened sexual violence, exhibitionism, and verbal sexual harassment. As you can see, the term is really all-encompassing and includes any action that is both violent and sexual in nature. Things like sexual assault, rape, and sexual battery all fall under the category of sexual violence. And here's a complete list of all the terms and definitions. So now that we know what sexual violence is, let's talk about some of the common myths that surround it. Most rape happens with strangers. Actually, 80 to 90% of all rapes happen with someone that the victim knows. It's okay to have sex with someone that's drunk or high. Legally, you can't consent under the influence of drugs or alcohol, so even if they said yes before, even if you talked about it, it doesn't matter. Rape can't happen with a boyfriend or girlfriend. Rape is not exclusive to your relationship with someone and can involve anyone that you're related to or in a relationship with. Rape is rape, and it doesn't matter who the perpetrator is. If a woman dresses provocatively, then she was asking for it. Dressing in a slutty way does not mean you are asking to be raped. There's no clothes you can wear, there's not any makeup you can put on that says, hey, I want to be assaulted. And this also falls into the fact that people think rape is a sexual crime, when really it's about gaining power and control over someone. It's not about what someone wears, it's not about how sexy they are, it's about power. If someone doesn't report a rape right after it happened, then they must be lying. This myth fails to recognize all of the different social forces that can be at work when someone is raped. They can feel a lot of shame or that they're at fault. They could be in circumstances where they don't feel safe to report it, or they might want to actually protect the perpetrator because they think they're somehow at fault or the perpetrator is someone they know. And rape also has this huge taboo around it, and people can be afraid of not being believed because a lot of times police don't know how to handle something like this. The fact that most rapes are not reported is our society's fault. And the fact that people often don't report rapes for years is society's fault. It's the fault of how we have socially constructed the ideas of rape and sexual assault and sexual violence. If someone was drunk at a party and got raped, then it was their fault because they should have stayed sober. As we mentioned before, you cannot consent under the influence of drugs or alcohol. And it doesn't matter if you're in a risky situation. That doesn't mean you're at fault for having a crime be committed against you. I know someone that lives in Chicago who was robbed at gunpoint, and yeah, he wasn't in such a good neighborhood. So does that mean that it was his fault? Does that mean he should have not been in that neighborhood then? Obviously, by that example, it seems really ridiculous. So why should rape be held to any other standard? It shouldn't, and we need to start recognizing that it's never, ever okay to rape someone. Most rapes are reported by women who change their minds or who have buyer's remorse after sleeping with a man. False rape reports are actually very uncommon. Only 2 to 8% of rape reports are actually falsified. So this stereotype is completely false and tries to lessen the impact of rape and say that, hey, our society doesn't have a problem with rape, when actually, hey, our society does have a problem with rape.